Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. Let's begin today's episode of Dana White's Contender Series. Rewind. Earlier today on a sports show, Daniel Cormier said this about Conor McGregor. I think so. So you actually, I can't. So you believe this. Believe what that Conor would fight Diego Sanchez. No, I'm just saying, forget about the fact, oh, okay, I get it, right. It just shows Conor's trying to use a guy like you, which to prove, I'm willing to fight anybody. Right? We just talked about Diego being done, and the biggest star in the UFC history is saying he'll fight him. So if you say your vehicle, Sanchez, is saying that, I'll fight anybody. But the reality is, kind of ain't fighting anybody. It has to be the right fight, because I'll fix it. Because if Conor was fighting anybody, right? Conor would have been if, and again, it's like, I'm not trying to fight the opposite side of the argument with you, so please don't try to paint me up to this. Or whitening if Conor was willing to fight anyone, he would have agreed to be the backup guy for having that, is such a joke. That's all I'm saying too. I'm just saying, if Conor McGregor was willing to fight anybody, he said, okay, because reality is, if at this point, if you're the backup or Khabib versus Ferguson gets scheduled, you're actually fighting here. That's a status thing. It's a status thing. Ferguson, if you're Khabib versus Ferguson in that schedule and they say, hey, you're tagged as the next guy, they're not fighting, you're fighting one of those two guys because one of them not making it to the fight because it always happens. So history would have shown, would Canelo ever be the backup fighter? Would Triple G be the backup? I get Conor's a bigger star than anyone, so he shouldn't have to be a backup. I'm trying to prove to you that if this is real, I'll fight anyone. Anytime that would have been the case. Sorry, Conor McGregor answered back on Twitter saying, I asked for May, you fat fool, what you saying? I fought in January and tried to go again but was kept back on purpose to be an alternate for a July fight, wait 7 whole months, and maybe I'd get to fight. Are you stupid? What are you saying, mate? I asked for my day versus anyone. I was trying to get the fight booked since February 13th. No, locked out 3 weeks after my last fight. I'm pushing for my next date and getting told, no, hang tight. In case one of these two pullouts pull out, I would also do it for free, and if you're not needed out, well, thanks anyway. For the doubling card, Baldy wanted a rematch for the end of the year, so I set a 3-fight run. May against anyone. Justin was named here, so it could have been Superman, then Diego for hometown return. Then rematch end of the year would have given me 4 fights in a year. Imagine how sharp I would be. Then, I asked for all these fights on February the 13th. No, lockout 3 weeks after my last fight. I'm pushing for my next day and getting told no, hang tight in case one of these two pullouts pull out. I'd also do it for free, and if you're not needed out. Well, thanks anyways. For the doubling card. Baldy wanted a rematch for the end of the year, so I set a 3-fight run me against anyone. Justin was named here, so it could have been Superman, then Diego for hometown return, then rematch end of the year would have given me 4 fights in a year. Imagine how sharp I would be then. Then I asked for all these fights on February the 13th. No, lockout 3 weeks after my last fight. I'm pushing for my next date and getting told no, hang tight in case one of these two pullouts. I'd also do it for free, and if you're not needed out, well, thanks anyways for the doubling card. Baldy wanted a rematch for the end of the year, so I set a 3-fight run. Me versus anyone. Justin was named here. So it could have been Superman, then Diego for hometown return, then rematch. End of the year would have given me 4 fights in a year. Imagine how sharp I would be. Then I asked for all these fights on February the 13th. So here's what I love about this exchange. Let me get it straight. You think that Conor McGregor would not be willing to fight Diego Sanchez. You're telling me that the biggest star in the company, someone that has been begging and pleading and clamoring for a lightweight title shot for years now, that he would not be willing to fight Diego Sanchez if he was willing to fight anybody. Come on, man. How you can look at that and think that that is not a sign of respect? You're telling me that that's not a sign of respect. You think that Conor needs to be on this show? You think that Conor is trying to put people on, right? Because that's what DC is saying. He's saying Conor is putting people on to look good. You think that's what this is about? You think this is about Conor trying to save face? This is about Conor showing respect, and if you don't want to accept that, you're the one who's wrong. Don't look at me. I'm not the one who's wrong here. If you think that that's not a sign of respect, that's your opinion. But I'm going to tell you right now, if you're telling me that the biggest star in the company, someone who is clamoring for a title shot, would not be willing to take a Diego Sanchez fight, I don't believe you. I don't believe you at all. And I'm willing to bet that most people watching this right now don't believe you either. Because I don't think anybody can look at that and really believe that. There's something going on there. Whether you choose to believe it or not, there's something there. I know that you're not trying to see it, but I can't help but notice that you're choosing to ignore it. And it's baffling to me. I mean, I really don't understand how you can watch that and be like, oh, that's not a sign of respect. It is. It is. It might not be true, but it's a sign of respect. If you don't want to believe that, I can't help you. If you don't want to believe that, you're the one who's wrong. I really think that that's something that most people can't disagree with. Daniel Cormier responds. He said, I hear you. I hear you. I know what you're saying. I know where you're coming from. I don't disagree with you at all. You're telling me that that's not a sign of respect. I'm telling you, I agree with you. I agree with you. I know what you're saying. I hear you. I know what you're saying. I don't disagree with you at all. And that's what we'll hear for today's episode. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, be sure to leave me a comment below and let me know what you thought of today's episode. Also, make sure to subscribe and follow. And I will catch you in the next one. Have a good night.